Chicago, Illinois. If your Chicago mayor doesn't want to help, he can step aside. But if he impedes us, if he knowingly harbors and conceals an illegal alien, I will prosecute.
That's strong words from a strong man. That was Tom Homan, the incoming Trump administration's pick to stop the crisis at our broken border. He made a surprise visit to Chicago yesterday, and honestly, it couldn't come soon enough. Just last night, there was what appeared to be a shootout in the Chicago suburb of Cicero involving what many believe to be the Venezuelan street gang, Tren de Agua. Here's Homan again from an event in Chicago yesterday, speaking candidly about the Windy City's woes.
Chicago's in trouble because your mayor sucks and your governor sucks. You know, I happen to work for the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump. President Trump called me up and says, okay, I want you to do three things. I want you to secure the border. I want you to find 340,000 missing children. Yes. And I want you to run the biggest deportation operation this country's ever seen.
Even Chicago's Democrats are starting to wake up to the fact that their elected leaders, notably the city's mayor, are too radical and are making the city susceptible to the kind of gangland violence that plagues third world countries like Venezuela. These documents shown here are the work of a bipartisan group of Chicagoans who are putting petitions together to force the city's broken leadership to take action against the illegals and to work with incoming border czar Tom Homan and the incoming Trump administration. I'm now pleased to be joined by Terry Newsome, who is our friend and the host of the very popular Behind Enemy Lines podcast. And for the first time on this show, Democratic Party Chicago Alderman Ray Lopez. Now, he's one of those Democrats who says he's had enough of the illegal immigration invasion into his city. Welcome, gentlemen. I appreciate you both being here with us today.
Thank you.
Now, Alderman Lopez, Terry here is an old hat to the show. He's one of our favorite guests. And let me tell you, he speaks very highly of you. So that is quite an endorsement for our audience because he's one of our favorites. Terry, I am going to start with you just because, you know, you did let us know that this was going to happen. It was a surprise visit by Tom Homan. You know what I love about the man? I met Tom Homan literally standing on the border in 2021. I was standing there on the border at night and pulls up a truck. Tom Homan gets out and he's that very same man on the border that you see in those videos. He's so authentic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he reminds me of a gruff Chicagoan from back in the old days. And he speaks the truth. He's honest. He's to the point and kind of gruff. So I love the guy. I love what he's willing to do and all the heat he's taken to try to save our city. And I had a great opportunity to get a private meeting with him and some individuals like Alderman Ray Lopez and other leaders who are still reviewing the documents before they jump all in. But we had sitting police officers, retired union members, union heads, ATF agents, pastors, Hispanics, African Americans, Italians, and this is not a Republican or a Democratic issue. This is an American issue. This is a Chicago issue. It's an Illinois issue, and we're being flooded by these criminals. And Tom doesn't want to start a war. He just wants to come into the state of Illinois. He'd like to go to Cook County Jail and just pick these people up and have them handed off to us. And Ray could talk about this more. They're not allowed to even talk to these guys. So what that means is the city of Chicago, when they release them, they're going to go into Alderman Lopez's communities, other communities, and they're going to be connected with other criminals. So that means Tom has to send a little army in there, which could lead to violence, danger, and potentially other murders, trying to retract what they're having, in some cases, sitting right there in the Cook County Jail. So I view Tom Homan as being like General Patton, him and Trump, liberating Paris, France, except they're going to liberate Chicago for us.
Alderman Lopez, you represent a wide range of people. It seems as if they've been forgotten in all of this, right? Your constituents are last in line for how their city government concerns themselves. Tell us a little bit about how they're feeling about the current status of the city and the influx of Tren de Agua and what they hope to see from the incoming administration.
Well, I think it's very telling that when in this last election, nearly 37% of Chicagoans voted for President Donald Trump to return back to
Yeah.
office. And as we look at what we constantly hear both at city council and in our neighborhoods, people want to feel safe again. They want to know that individuals are in their communities for the right reasons. And there are still people like myself who believe we should be a place that people want to come to, where people want to emigrate to. And we know that both parties have really failed in creating a functional front door. They've chosen to create backdoor avenues for people to come in, as we saw with the Biden-Harris administration manipulating asylum for nearly 4 years just to get, 15 million people through the door one way or another. But that's had a very negative impact on every demographic. African Americans are upset, Latinos are upset, particularly Latinos associated with undocumented who have been waiting for a path to come out of the shadows from the Democrats going back to Barack Obama. You have individuals who are tired of their taxes going up to fund these programs that take care of these individuals. $600 million by the city of Chicago alone last year to deal with only 60,000 people. That's insane, especially as we are just today voting on whether or not to raise people's taxes to cover our shortfalls. So people want to see us put our citizens first. We understand that we have the opportunity to help others, but charity must always start at home. And they want some common sense solutions when it comes to immigration, like stop protecting those criminals who choose a criminal lifestyle once they're here. Why are we protecting these individuals? Makes no sense to me. And additionally, to Terry's point, if you have to send in a SWAT brigade to go after one person that we've arrested and let go, now you're jeopardizing the other undocumented individuals trying to do the right thing in a neighborhood. And it's that political posturing that is shameful by both my mayor and my governor at this point.
And it's kind of amazing, right? It seems like they're shooting themselves in the foot. I would imagine they're facing so much pushback from their residents that it would almost have to back them in the corner. But you heard Tom Homan say that if they don't cooperate with him, particularly the mayor, the Chicago mayor, that Homan and the Trump administration would be forced to prosecute him. Do you think it will come to that? Or at some point, will the city mayor say, look, I've got a situation on my hands and I'm just going to cooperate? Because so many people did vote for Trump in his city.
I think there's going to be a lot of political posturing. I think that both Pritzker and Johnson are both trying to use Trump as their whipping boy because they have nothing else to point at. But at the end of the day, they're going to capitulate because they're not going to want federal obstruction of justice charges brought against them. I know I, for one, am not going to push for Chicago to pay their legal bills when they get arrested.
Sure.
Coleman can speak them tomorrow if he wants. I'm happy with that. But at the end of the day, this was always a federal matter. This was always a federal failure. And if the federal government is now finally going to address the situation, even though it took a new administration to do it, why are we getting in the way, particularly when Donald Trump has said that he's going to find a path for DACA, for the Dreamers, which is almost 3.5 million people who are basically Americans, and wants to focus on getting rid of individuals who are choosing to commit crimes in our country once they're here. Take away for a moment how they got here. You have a choice. You're either going to be a positive or a negative. And if you want to be a negative, then you don't need to be here. And if we could help facilitate that with Tom Homan, so be it.
You talked about not wanting the taxpayer dollars to pay their legal bills. Should they be prosecuted from the Trump administration? We'll let our viewers know. We're very thankful because you were in the middle of a raucous budget meeting and you made time for us. So we appreciate that. Speaking of Chicago's bills. And the fact of the matter is, as we sit here right now, the flow of illegals continues into your city. In fact, as Tom was there yesterday at Mr. Homan, and while you were meeting with him at the airport, Terry, you discovered that illegals were still being housed and processed at O'Hare Airport. Let's take a look.
Hello, I'm back. So come on, tell us, do you work for Catholic Charities?
Are you here for the intake center for the immigrants? Are you?
No, I mean, I'm working security here.
Is this where all the immigrants come through when they fly through Chicago?
Well, they come over here now, but they're not anymore.
And
So what's the problem?
so we're just trying. I thought they stopped flying them into Chicago. They still are?
Yeah.
Okay.
And here was actually Tom Homan responding, Terry, to your discovery at O'Hare from later that night. Take a listen.
What do you think about what's going on inside the airport at O'Hare?
Well, after January 20th, that stuff's not going to happen anymore. And Ben, I appreciate everything you've done up here in Chicago, sending that message out. We'll continue pushing that message, and we're going to make Chicago safer.
Thank you.
Sounds like they plan to stop at day one, hopefully.
Yes. Yeah. And I was shocked. I don't. Alderman Lopez, I don't know if you knew they were still bringing him into O'Hare. I thought that stopped, and I just walked across the street because I had time to kill, and I was shocked. They're all the NGOs set up there. They got the receiving, all the stuff that they give to them when they come in, the signs in Spanish. So they're still coming into our city, and these people are set up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to
And they're
receive these people.
And they're evolving from the city's perspectives because we know that there's so much backlash with regards to the migrant mission continuing. So now Mayor Johnson has decided that they're no longer going to be considered part of the migrant mission, quote unquote. They're now part of the homeless mission. So we're going to call all of them homeless so that we can now enter new contracts with new providers and spend even more money under the guise of homelessness so that individuals will not try to come after us for dealing with migrant asylum seekers.
Yeah, another slap in the face to people from Illinois, Chicago, and the minorities. As of January 1st, the employers are not able to use E-Verify. I mean, Pritzker said you can't even verify if they're here legally to work. I mean, it's crazy. Well, I don't know what his goal is, to try to destroy us, collapse. I mean, obviously that seems the case. Why wouldn't you want somebody to verify if they're here legally? I don't understand if they want to be employed.
And the E-Verify was a bipartisan effort to try and cut down on the flow of undocumented workers taking jobs from Americans. So I think that I would really wonder how the governor intends to push back against the IRS requirements for E-verification.
It just sounds like Chicago and Illinois in general are in need of new leadership. Given the percentage of the vote for Donald Trump, which it sounds extremely high to me in this election cycle in your city, sounds like there's an appetite, a real appetite for change, Alderman Lopez. Are you perhaps considering running for mayor? Because it seems like you're actually trying to really represent your people, your constituents. Such a novel idea for an elected official.
Well, first off, let me just say that I've been an elected Democratic office holder for well over a dozen years, and don't let my charming good looks fool you. But I will tell you that I will tell you that the Democratic Party has some serious soul searching to do at this point, and I think that we heard that from Ambassador and my former mayor Rahm Emanuel, who said the Democrats need to sit down, shut up, and listen. And it's true, because we've gotten very good as a party pontificating towards people, trying to tell them what they should be concerned about rather than listening to what they are concerned about. And as far as what my future holds, who knows? I love being able to be a voice of reason in a very left of left leaning city council, but I will go wherever God sends me. But I think at the moment, all elected officials, particularly Democrats, need to pay attention and listen to what are the concerns of the people. I should not be a relic with my views. I should be the future. And there are many Democrats who think just like me, who grew up just like me, some even on the show at the moment. But we should not just be a memory. This mindset shouldn't just be a memory. And it really bothers me when I hear, oh, you're like the Democrats my grandfather used to know. Well, yeah, but I'm the one that your children know. So let's make sure that they understand what our party stands for and how we can work together, and never be afraid to be bipartisan and work with Republicans or other individuals, because that when you stop putting things above partisan politics and make everything about party, that's when the failures happen. Public safety shouldn't be a partisan issue. National security shouldn't be a partisan issue. Those are things that should be beyond politics, and yet we fall for it every single time.
We have a couple more minutes. I want to talk about the logistics, because when the Trump administration, when Tom Homan comes in, it sounds like, at least at the beginning, he's going to face considerable pushback, right? And as you said, Terry, he doesn't want war or conflict in what is already, a tense city at the moment. Alderman Lopez, what kind of resources can be allocated to helping Tom Homan? What kind of support will he receive, or how will this logistically work when they start coming in a not unfriendly city to deport these criminal illegals?
Well, let's just take it back, because I think you were referring to the electoral success of Donald Trump's the second coming of Donald Trump. In Illinois, he got basically 45% of the vote. In Chicago, he got 38% of the vote. So there's definitely an electorate that wants to see some of the changes that we're talking about. So I think that will help propel people like Terry and others who are going to put pressure on elected officials to take action. But in the city of Chicago in particular, our welcoming city ordinance, the enabling sanctuary city law, can be amended from within to put some carve-outs back in there for when we can, in fact, work with immigration, when we should work with federal authorities, particularly as it relates to individuals who choose to engage with crimes involving guns, gangs, prostitution, human trafficking, and drugs and sex crimes against minors. That's a very easy addition to our municipal code, our laws that used to be on the books, that I've tried to introduce both under Lori Lightfoot and Brendan Johnson. But I think definitely now with the return of Donald Trump and with Tom Homan saying that let's go after the criminals first, otherwise everyone else may be in jeopardy. Now we can make an even stronger case that we're going to have an enforcement mechanism in the White House willing to work with us, as long as we get some guarantees that this is where they want to start and focus, which I think if I understood Tom correctly yesterday, that's exactly what they want to do, assuming they have the cooperation of Chicago. And I look forward to helping bring that message to City Council.
That's great.
But-
One last comment. Can I one last comment for me, if it's okay?
Of course.
To Alderman's point, Donald Trump did really good in Illinois, right, compared to what we expected. He did, in spite of, and I'm a Republican, in spite of how dysfunctional the Illinois GOP is, a clown show. Sorry for those of you who are watching. No help from the Illinois GOP.
Same
Therefore,
in
Mr.
many
Trump,
states, not just Illinois.
and then Mr. Trump didn't, spend money there because it was a waste of money. So I could imagine if we had a halfway decent GOP and they would have helped, as well as the Trump campaign, his numbers could have been way higher. He was just left here abandoned.
To be honest, I think he could have won if an effort was made. I think everyone made the assumption that Illinois is a
That's from
blue
the
state.
Democrat. I mean, hello, thank you. That's what I was saying all along, and I got admonished for it.
No,
I agree.
I honestly believe if there would have been a modicum of effort made by either the establishment here or funding from him, it's only a 400,000 vote difference, which is not a lot in Illinois. It could have completely changed, and you could have put our 19 electoral votes in his column.
Well,
You're more of a Republican than our Republicans. Thank you, sir.
That's true. Well, in some places the bar is pretty low. Alderman Lopez, pretty. We have problems in our party too. Thank you so much, both of you. Look, this is a positive step in the right direction that we can all celebrate, and we'll continue to follow this story. Of course, Terry Newsome has done amazing reporting, and it's so great to meet you, Alderman Lopez. And we're excited for the future of your city. And we're hoping for the best for the people of Chicago with all of our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Emerald.
Thank you.
The season is upon us, but you don't have much longer to finish your Christmas lists. We got some fantastic ideas for you, for stocking stuffers, for the special person in your life, for yourself when you go to mypillow.com and take advantage of the best Christmas sale ever, Christmas extravaganza, where you can see right here, Mike Lindell has teed up some fantastic deals for you, including the classic collection sale, just $14.88 on those pillows. Oh, look, my favorite, the My Slippers. The My Slippers, just $15.98. We have those flannel sheets, especially as it's starting to get cold, and it's only going to get colder. $59.98. Go to mypillow.com. Put in the promo code TRUTH, because that's the way you're going to take advantage of these fantastic deals. Kind of a gift in our own way, right? Or you can call the 800 number you see at the bottom of your screen, 800-944-5396, 800-944-5396, and let that phone jingle all the way until the customer service representative, full of holiday cheer, answers the phone and helps you find exactly what you need to finish out your Christmas shopping this year.